So here's the last question on the quiz. At least the version I have of it. They give you a graph of g of x and h of x. They define um, f of x is g of h of x, and then what's f prime of 3. So I got to figure out what the derivative of f is and then plug a 3 in. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to here for a moment, and they give me this. F is g of h of x. So by the chain rule, f prime of x is take the derivative of the outside function, leaving the inside alone, but then multiply by the derivative of the inside. Okay. Now, f prime of 3 is going to be g prime of h of 3 times h prime of 3. So there's a few things I need to figure out. I need to figure out what h prime of 3 is. I need to figure out what h of 3 is. And then whatever that output is, I need to plug that into g prime. So let's go do these things. So g prime of, what's h of 3 first of all? So I'm going to switch back over here. And h of 3. So this is the graph for h. H of 3 looks like it's 3.5. All right. So back over to here now. So that was a 3.5 was the h of 3. H prime of 3 would be the slope at 3. So I'm going to look at the slope here. So this looks like a rise. Let's see, you go over 2 and down 1. So that's slope of -0.5. So the slope right here is -0.5. So I'm going to come back over here. That h prime of 3 is equal to -0.5. So now I need to figure out what is g prime of 3.5. Well, now we're looking at g. 3.5 is right here, and I need the slope right there. Well, let's see, with the units, the spacing, it looks like a very similar slope to that one, but the spacing's different. I can see it goes through this point, goes through that point, so that's a run of 1, right, from 3 to 4, and then a rise of -1. Actually, so that's slope -1 right there. Right, the scales are different sizes, so it doesn't look like a slope of -1, but it's over 1, down 1, so that's a slope of -1. So g prime of 3.5 is -1. Actually, this is a line. The slope is -1 everywhere. So anyway, 3.5, the slope is 1. No, -1. Slope is -1. So I'm going to come back over here and say g prime of 3 is -1. So I have -1 times -0.5 for a grand total of positive 0.5. So I think the answer, at least with my version, your numbers might be slightly different because the graphs might have a little different slopes there. But so I'm looking at +0.5, and I want to double check here. What's my answer? Yes, it's +0.5. Okay. Apply the chain rule, and then plug whatever number you had there, plug it in, and then find the appropriate things on the graph. Either find the height or find the slope, whichever one is appropriate. Okay. Anyway, there you go. Ask any more questions if it's still unclear.